video is about making segmented rings. And segmented rings, the way I'm using them, is in ornaments. This particular ornament is made using the rings that are shown in this video. I've taken a combination of walnut and maple and put together, and there's 5 rings here. So that's one example. Another example, just to show you can get more complicated, this one has 24 segments and more rings because they're thinner. This one is 36 segments and has a ton of rings. It has almost 800 segments, 800 pieces in it. But it doesn't have to be just ornaments. You can also make bowls with segmentation as well. All of these things are made using the same technique that I'm going to show you in this video. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some masking tape and we're going to stick this down to the board. And in my case, it's a metal board. And this is going to give us the place to stick our segments to. By sticking them down this way, putting them on the tape, it makes it really easy to then roll them up into a ring once we get to the end. The guy that told me to do this said use the stickiest, cheapest tape you can use, and you can see this is pretty sticky. Can't get it off my fingers. So I'll tie down the ends, and then I'll pull it tight so that it can't move around. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our segments. Our segments cut on a wedgie sled have a line on the very top and a line on the front edge. The next piece has a line on the bottom, nothing on the top, and you put them together like such. So you have line, no line, lines both on the front face. This takes advantage of the capabilities of the wedgie board and cleans up the messes that we have by angles being wrong on our table saw. So the next thing I normally do is I'll lay out my pieces so that I have them separated out, and then I begin to stick them down to the tape. So we're going to start out with a piece of walnut, line on top, line on the front. You put it down on the edge of the tape, again, as straight as you can. The next thing now, we have a line, so I need to have a no line on top. So now I'm going to put down the second piece, then line on top, and then we just repeat this pattern until we get done with the setup. Make sure your pattern's right, because once you glue it together, you can't fix it. So I have the pattern right. So the next thing we're going to do is going to take glue, and we're going to put a bead of glue between every one of these pieces at the bottom of the V. The guy that told me about this said make sure that you count them so that you don't leave one out. And then on the very last one, on the 12th one, I just smear glue on the outside edge since there's not a V there. Next thing we do is we're going to take a razor blade. I'm going to take that razor blade and I'm going to cut the tape as close to the segment as I can on the first one and on the last one. That separates this from the strip that's holding it down. So now that we can move it out onto the board, turn it over, and roll it up. I then take just a standard hose clamp, make sure it's open enough to fit around it, and fit that around the outside. Let's begin to tighten it up a little bit so that it somewhat begins to pull together the pieces. But before you pull them all the way together, you want to make sure that everything's nice and level. The flatter this ring is when you put it together, the less sanding you have to do when you begin to get these ready to go into your ornament or vase or bowl, whatever it might be. So now I've tightened it up. I wiped the bottom off so you can see really tight joints. The wedgie sled at work.
If you like this video, hit the like button below. You can also check out my website, bebopsturnings.com. I have a blog site where I'm basically journaling my journey through turning. Hope you enjoyed it.